Miller taking him down.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with New York Giants legend and South Carolina Hall of Famer Corey Miller and his son, four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
And knocked down again. It was Christian Miller.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day and hope you guys are ready to talk some ball. We'll dive into it. You guys know how we do on Talking Tuesdays. Now, we've kind of shuffled some things around a little bit. Normally, you know, we anticipate going to you guys, going to the phones, doing all that, but it's kind of shifted, right, Chase? It's almost like Mondays are that day. We pretty much do the phones the whole time. We talk the whole time. So we kind of put some stuff on the back burner. Totally fine. Totally fine. So we let other people talk on Talking Tuesdays, people that we haven't heard talk yet. That would be the coaching staff. Kalen DeBoer had a press conference yesterday, as well as the coordinators. So we're going to backtrack. If you guys have heard some of it, all of it, I apologize, but we definitely got to go back and listen. And we could probably skip through some of it if we need to, but I definitely want to get their early thoughts moving forward, like the updates and things, right? So maybe we'll clip it up a little bit, but we'll definitely at least try to get head coach Kalen DeBoer, maybe pass on the coordinators if we need to. But I know there's a couple things that I do want to hit on. There's some questions about guys playing, guys not playing. So I definitely want to at least get to that so we can dive into that conversation, talk about it. And as you've already seen on the YouTube stream, again, we do stream every day on YouTube. Check us out at the Miller's Edge. If you haven't already, you can watch me do the show live. We will get into a little bit of an early preview for Tennessee, but I've learned my lesson. We definitely space things out. So we won't go too deep of a dive today, at least, but we definitely will bring up some initial points about this matchup, the big one, right? Third Saturday in October. We'll do that probably around the second hour of the show. So that's kind of what I got on tap for you guys today. Just a couple, I guess, quick little notes off the top of my head. Again, I mentioned this yesterday, but 10-year anniversary for the 2015 National Championship team will take place this weekend. Really cool. Chase, I can't even believe it's been 10 years. Like, when I tell you, it feels like yesterday, right, that we went and won that championship. And when I tell people, like, that year was honestly probably one of my definitely – okay, I'll probably say it's hard to like, one of my favorite years being here, right? Definitely one of my favorite teams. It's just hard because, like, my senior year, obviously sentimental. My last year, I mean, talk about obviously the best I played throughout my whole career. So obviously that goes up there. 2017 was special. I missed a lot of time with that biceps injury that I had to get surgery on. But then coming back, you know, being able to, you know, make, you know, big play in the championship game and win a national championship, and then obviously be a part of the whole second and 26 deal. I mean, you got to throw that in there. But 2015, man, like, there was just something about the chemistry with that team. Like, even though I was a younger guy, I was a redshirt freshman that year. I mean, the chemistry on that team was just, it was unlike any other team I really had been a part of. Now, as a team led by guys like Derrick Henry, Jake Coker, Reggie Ragland, it was just something special about that unit, man. And I will say that honestly was one of the most fun years I ever had while I was here. But anyway, 10-year reunion for that is coming up this weekend. So it will be cool to see all the guys that do end up showing up. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it. There's some guys still playing, but obviously there's a number of guys that I haven't got to see in years, man, that hopefully we get to see. So that's cool, and that is taking place this weekend. And obviously, as you guys see on the screen, there should be some cigar smoking taking place this weekend. Now, we got to take care of business first. But if you guys haven't got your cigars, make sure you guys go to rnrcigars.com. Use code Miller's Edge. That way you can get 20% off your orders. Again, they have those special edition Victory Game cigars. They got the football on them. They're sick. If you haven't seen them, again, go check them out and use that code to get that 20% off. Again, code Miller's Edge, rnrcigars.com to do that. Plus, go hang out at the mansion. It's going to be packed out this week, I can tell you that, but it's going to be a good time. Obviously, Tennessee game, everybody's going to be at the Cigar Mansion, of course. 2703 Gary Fitz Street is where you can find them here in Tuscaloosa, man. Make sure you guys hit them up again. That is R&R Cigars. Chase, a couple other things that are just crossing my mind real quick. I know we mentioned Branch, obviously going to be facing some type of, I guess, discipline, right, for his actions at the end of that game. Hard to say. I blame him seeing the nonsense that Juju pulled a few minutes prior to that happening, but the news is in on what his penalty will be, or what his, I guess, disciplinary action will be, and they're suspending him without pay for a game, bro. Now, if you guys know, a game check, man, because in the NFL, the way it works is your salary is all put up into, the football season, right? So game checks are big. It's not like you're getting paid year round. Now, they have changed it, I think, where they stretched it from like 17, like 34 weeks. At least they were supposed to do that. Nonetheless, man, that's a lot of money. I was thinking like, oh, man, to get hit with like a $25,000 fine. Brother, when you lose a game check. Now, if he's still on his rookie deal, that's going to be a saving grace, because if he was on a second contract, oh, man, God, leave that game check. That would be, we're talking about six figures easy that he's lost just because he went and handled business and, addressed Juju after the game. I don't know if you guys like me, but hell, matter of fact, I had to pay $390 for our website, Miller's Edge, the website, because the service, I wouldn't say they scam me, but they try to get over on me. And I'm getting some bill collector thing from Germany. I'm like, what the hell? So I had to pay $390 randomly, and I was mad about that. This dude, oh man, are you losing up like six figures for that decision? Oh man. That has to hurt. And if you guys haven't seen it already, this is the play, or the thing that happened, that right there, this blind side right here. Sorry for our radio listeners, but long story short, he got blindsided by Juju, and this is at the like 3-minute, 24-second mark in the fourth quarter. So that obviously is what kind of sparked it. And I guess he also probably had some other situation during the game. But anyway, that's a very costly decision on his part. I hate it for him, but man, that's the NFL for you. But yeah, so there's an update on that. That being said, let's go ahead and hit our first time out. We come back. We got to dive into these interviews from yesterday. We got to get caught back up. Plus, Tuesdays is typically when the players speak as well. So we'll have player interviews for the second hour as well. But per usual, 205-342-9904 is the number. Plus, I'm always happy to take y'all's questions here on the chat and the Tide 100.9 app. You can drop those at messages as well to get you guys ready to talk Tennessee Volunteers, man. Again, this is going to be a good week of breakdown stuff, because what they do, especially offensively, man, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss, especially when it comes to how you choose to defend it. So I'm looking forward to talking about it this week with you guys right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. What's up? Let's do a little roll call. Who we got in here? You guys haven't, man. Go ahead and drop that like, all that good stuff. You guys already know the drill. If you're in here this early, you guys definitely already know the drill. I don't even have to remind you. Let's see. Sometimes you got to whip some ass. Hey, listen, I hear you, but is whipping ass worth six figures? To me, it ain't. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't care how bad I want to hurt somebody. Nah, man, he's just gonna have to see me next time we play within the whistle. I ain't giving up. I just told you guys, man. I charged me $390 for the website, and I was mad about that, right? Because it shouldn't even have been that much. And I'm talking like, we're talking like, all right, let's here. I don't want to pocket watch, but I want to give you guys context. I hate to pocket watch and be that guy, but I'm trying to give you guys some context. Since he's still on his rookie deal, though, it's going to help him out tremendously. So they're saying his salary is about 1.3, 1.4, right? And so let's divide that by, let me see. We got to take taxes out too. So let's go ahead. Let's just drop it to, let's say $800K after taxes. I mean, there's probably a lot of other stuff, but let's just say that. Divide that by, is it 18 regular season games? Now I'm drawing a blank. So much has changed. So say they divided that by typically, if it's still the way it was, I mean, that'd be his game checks are probably after taxes about $47,000. Now that's just me just doing some quick math. So, Chief, I'm with you, man. Sometimes you might feel like you got to handle business. 17, all right, cool, appreciate it. I was like, dang, they added 18th, or they just were talking about that. $47,000. I'm just telling you right now. Listen. I'm I don't care how much you disrespect me, fam. $47,000? No. Yeah. I mean, I'm all for standing on business, but like, God, but if you like that type of consequence, nah, man, it ain't worth it to me, bro. I'd do a commercial so quick, bro. And then you can't play too. I mean, we didn't even say that. I mean, that sucks too. Like, you got to sit out. Man, he's a dog too. Ryan, what's up? Jake, what's going on? Question: what was your favorite game versus Tennessee as a player or a fan? As a player, man. Where do we play that? We played. I think we played at Tennessee my senior year. Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was a fun game. That's when I had that fumble recovery from X. We sent Xavier McKinney on that blitz, and I had that fumble recovery, and I had a sack in that game too. Yeah, one or two. I know I had one for sure. I can't remember if it was two though. I don't think that game was like crazy though. I mean, it was fun for me. I mean, because I played the whole game. It was fun. Junior year, I didn't get to play them because I was hurt. Sophomore year, when we played them, we played at Tennessee. That was a fun game. That was a fun game because that was when Bojack had that punt return. I mean, that was when I just rotated in on defense. I almost had a sack at the end of the game. That was when they had Josh Dobbs. I almost had a couple, matter of fact. I almost had a couple at my sophomore year. I think I barely slipped off of them. I'd probably say my senior year. As a fan, I mean, there's definitely probably been better. But I feel like when I was in school, though, we pretty much beat up on Tennessee. I'm not going to lie to you. Phil, what's up? Kenji, what's going on? Dwight, what's up? Carson, yes, sir. Smoke up, you got him. 34-24. Man, y'all dropping predictions quick. Bama by 6. What's the spread? I don't even know what the spread is right now. Look at me with all my betting verbiage. The spread. What's the spread? Ain't it like 7.5? Is that right? Why does it not say it? Yeah, I think it's like 7.5. Oh, wait, we're back. Hold on.
Details.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Oh, wait, 8.5 or 9.5? 9.5. Okay. What's up, Dr. Crystal? And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, let's start with Ryan Grubb today. I feel like we never get his press conferences. His is about 8 minutes or so, and I can skip through it if a question just seems kind of irrelevant. Since I didn't go ahead and chop it up, I was talking with you guys. But let's start there because I do want to hear. I know he discussed Michael Carroll. I definitely want to hear that question, right? Because I know a lot of people are kind of like, hey, man, what are we doing at the offensive line spot? I feel like they ask him that question every week. And I'll say this, man, Tennessee's got some good edge players, man. They've got some good guys up front. Again, it's the weirdest thing that they got good guys up front, but then their pass defense is like last. And I know you're like, what is that? Again, it goes hand in hand. You would think that pass rush would help them out, but damn, bro, they're dead last in the conference in pass defense. So obviously, that could be a problem for them going against wide receiver core and a quarterback that's literally leading the country. And I think Ty's leading the country in Heisman odds right now. I don't know if that was like a specific site that I saw that, but I know a lot of people are starting to put him up there for sure. But anyway, without further ado, let's hear from Ryan Grubb from yesterday and hear what he had to say during his press conference at Mal Moore.
SEC and fourth down attempts, just when it's kind of getting in those type plays, what's the communication like between you and Kalen and the discussions of when you're going to go for it or not?
They're normally the discussion honestly happens before the play. So we're pretty dialed going into the football game as far as what we think our go rates are in different situations. So typically when I start a series, I'll know what the go is for that. Like on first down, I'll know what the go is. So leading up to that play, there's really not a ton of deliberation unless we've run out of calls. And if I don't feel great about the calls we have left on the sheet, I'll tell Kalen, hey, my best stuff's gone. We probably need to think about punting here. So it's not too bad. We kind of been through it a few times.
Hey, that was a very deliberate answer. I'm glad he answered that like that. It gives you a very in-depth look and kind of sense of how things actually go. And it's not them just looking at the thing on fourth down and picking something. Like you said, they already got go calls in place. And man, that was anyway, really good answer from a guy who normally I feel like he's on the opposite side of Kane Womack. Normally he doesn't say too much. That was a very detailed answer.
Yeah, Coach, do you feel like you guys left quite a bit of money on the table at Missouri, and what do you kind of do to kind of fix and finish some of those drives?
I'm going to temper my response there. Yes, I think that's an understatement. I think most importantly, the guys know that. We got to the film session on Monday, and when we went through it, some of the plays, there's tough looks that a good defense like Missouri will present some problems for you that the players will have to overcome at times, and they certainly did that, have moments in the game. And then there's plays that you feel really good about. It's a look that you practiced, you're ready to execute. And, for a multitude of reasons, those didn't happen the way we wanted them to at times. And that was frustrating. And so some of the fringe issues where we weren't able to continue drives into the red zone, was obviously really frustrating. So we got to look at coaches as well. It can't just be a player's thing because it's not just a player thing. So what are the plays that we're good at running? What do our players do well? What do we execute well? And we got to make sure that we find the best way to get our guys in those positions and be honest about, the film we're watching. So we certainly did that. And I always tip my cap to the guys because they're very open to that. They listen, they'll take coaching, they'll understand that their coaches are going to fight for the best opportunity for them as well.
Let's go to Chase on the left side.
Ty seems to be pretty unbothered by blitzing. He's had a lot of success against the blitz. Can you just speak to that quality of his and how uncommon it is in quarterbacks to be able to handle that and burn a defense that's bringing extra men?
Yeah, I think any quarterback, Ty is no exception to that. Certainly, more experience, the better. And certainly Ty has had some pressure-packed moments that he's had to deliver under pressure, and he just keeps getting better at it. And, fortunately for us, we play defense in the spring and in camp that pressures a lot. So I think there's something to that your quarterbacks can get used to that when they have to throw against pressure. And for him, I think, you go back to the Florida State game, which I don't want to, rehash stuff, but in the play he makes on 4th and 7 to Latsier, big-time quarterbacks in high-pressure situations make those throws, and he did. And so I just, tip the cap to Ty. He's just been very steady on his preparation, very critical of himself. He knows the plays that he left out there that he can still get better at. But I do think that that's kind of the mark of a good quarterback. I think when you see guys that are throws is where it really counts.
Go to Nick on the far right side.
Yeah, kind of follow up to that. What are some of the coaching points to him about taking hits and hitting his checkdowns to make sure he doesn't take too big of hits?
Just that. And he took an unnecessary kind of hit there that he could have got down right there. But other than that, I thought he's done a good job of being able to lean out of throws in the back end of the pocket when pressure's, collapsing on him. I did think there's a couple he could have got out of his hand. I think that he would probably agree with that. I know that he does. And that's where he's continuing to develop and get better, that even when they're tough. There was one, he got the ball out of his hand immediately, got it to jam for like 3 yards, but 3 yards. 2nd and 7 is way better than 2nd and 17. So those are the things that I think he's continued to build on.
Building from that, we'll start with Emily Grace and then go to Colin.
What's the next step in Michael Carroll's progression as he continues to get game experience?
Yeah, Michael, when the game's moving fast, he's just got to be able to do the same. Honestly, there was one pressure pickup that Michael MA'd on in the game, and super encouraging. We're having a unit meeting. I call Michael out in front of everybody, and whose fault was this? Who's the MA here? And Michael takes full accountability. It was mine. What was the call? Is it take it right call? He had the whole thing down. He knew exactly what should have happened, who the running back. So he was immediately able to articulate what should have happened in the play. And the growth that you can see from a young player like that just proves to me that he's very close to being able to be an every down guy.
Say 6 games here. Is there anything specific about his throwing motion or throwing mechanics that you want to see improved over the back half of the year, or what kind of comes to mind with that?
No, I think Ty's big thing. He's been working really hard on throwing on the run. I think that's one of the things that all quarterbacks. I don't know if you have enough practice time to make sure you emphasize that enough. I think accurately throwing on the run, whether it's under duress or design plays, is one of the things that you have to work the most. Taking the pad off of his ball, and I thought he's way better on the back end of his drop. He was a little bit jumpy early in the season where he's too dramatic on the back end. So just seeing the calmness in the back end of his drop and throwing on the run.
Justin in the back left.
You guys leaned on Daniel Hill to pick up some tough runs late in the game, as well as you trusted him enough to throw him the football late in the game. What does that mean about his skill set that you guys can trust him late in the game and pick up tough yards as a bigger back?
Yeah, Daniel has been a guy that unfortunately has been a little bit dinged up through the first part of the year, but is a guy that I don't know if there's a guy we're more optimistic about out of spring ball than Daniel. So we're hoping that starts to show up a little bit more here, and obviously take some of the load off of Jam. But he's a really bright player. I think Daniel is a guy that I know Daniel's a guy that understands pressure pickups. He's very good at pass protection. He's got incredibly good hands. A lot of people probably don't know that about Daniel, but he's a good athlete. I mean, he was like a state champion 300-meter hurdle guy. Like he's kind of wild, some of the stuff he can do. So we certainly trust him to do all those things.
Go to Alex right in front there.
I want to circle back to the right tackle spot, just how you think Wilkins done there and the balance between him and Michael and what you kind of like to see from that position moving forward.
Well, consistency is the biggest thing for both of them. Different vantage points for both guys, but I think consistency is one of the biggest parts. Obviously, the good offensive line play. There's no plays off. You don't get to be on the backside of a route or something like that. So we just got to have more consistency at that spot. So whether it's Michael having a full grasp of the offense or Wilkin executing at his highest capability, we just got to have better, consistency at that spot.
We have a last question. I think we have a follow-up. Brady.
You spent most of your career on the West Coast or Midwest. It's your first big rivalry game at Alabama. Just what have you been told or understood about this Alabama-Tennessee rivalry?
I'm still figuring all that out. I thought Georgia was a rivalry too, so I thought that was a big game. But I love that in general about the SEC. I think it's awesome. I love lining up every week, playing tough ranked teams. Our guys, our players are up for it. It's one of the best parts about being in Alabama, honestly, is like you think about playing Tennessee at home and what that stadium is going to be like and where our players are going to be at. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So there you go. That was offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb speaking to the media yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and hit our second time out. Well, I keep doing that. I keep doing that after our first, our second one. I say our first. We're going to hit a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll respond to what Ryan Grubb had to say. We'll probably try to hear some of Kane Womack. We won't listen to the whole thing. I'll try to just find specific parts, but then we'll keep listening, breaking it down, listening and break down as we keep on right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
The time.
All right. Let's see. Let's just try to find exactly from that Kane Womack one real quick. What
you look back on last week, I do think if developer we've come.
or unless there's any.
It's helping us. It's helping us on the road. It's helping us respond to adversity at home. Those are things that we've got to grow and find a football team on and get corrected. The exciting thing is I think our best football is still ahead of some opportunities at the beginning, being in the right place. Our job is like it's the progression standpoint defense. And mistakes out there, there's plenty of steps towards, but certainly we left as a third down defense. I think some of our pass rush is improving in terms of finding ways to speed up the timing of the quarterback. I do think we were able to affect the quarterback last week, and certainly that helped, in certain pass rushes and pressures. And then, we had 5 opportunities to create takeaways. We only came away with 2 of them. So that's something that we've got to do a better job. Love that we're creating the opportunities, but something that we can be way more consistent in finding ways to take the ball off of people. So when you look at this week, obviously another great rival, great opponent in the SEC. This is a football team that's operating at a pretty high level offensively right now. I think they're number 1 scoring offense in the country. That seems to be a theme of offenses that we've faced recently. And so, I have tremendous respect for this coaching staff. Their players are very disciplined, physical football team, create a lot of explosives downfield. They're committed to it schematically. And they have shown that they can respond to adversity. So we certainly have a great challenge ahead of us, and one that I think we're all excited to get started on our week of preparation.
Wait, so that was all his first opening thing? All right, so we'll listen to that.
Yeah, Demai Jackson got the start, but John Lee.
Well,
we'll listen to that part.
Who you were just talking about and shadow him, or just
all right, screw it. We'll just do what we did, but then I'll just listen to each question. If it's a wash, we can just go on by it. But obviously, we need to listen to at least the first 5 minutes or so. All right, can we look at some Joshua Joseph tape and see how he stacks up against guys like Zion Young and Damon Wilson? Hell yeah, we can definitely do that. I just saw this on Twitter, but this ain't just him. This is that other guy too. I think 29, or maybe is it all 29? I don't know, but 29 is a damn good player too. What's his name? I got the depth chart. Jordan Ross. But this dude does a good job. He's going speed to power. Just really working the edge. He's not doing any crazy moves. He's really just engaging and then just kind of disengaging quick. He's a good player though. Like this play, look at this dude. Why can't we find edge guys like this anymore? What happened? We used to have dudes like this littered on our roster. What happened to all our edge guys, man? No disrespect to the guys we got. Yeah, I think this is a cut up with just 29. But he's a good player. Him at 19. 19 is the one you're talking about, Joseph. Like Tennessee recently, man, they've had edge guys year after year. That's going to be a big task. I know he talked about Michael Carroll and trying to figure that whole thing out, but I thought by his answer it was evident. Michael Carroll just being what I thought it was, right? The fact that he's just a young guy and they're still trying to get him up to speed with everything. That's the barrier that they're trying to break with him. Other than that, man, I think that from his play, I think he's definitely the better option. Yes, he's going to make mistakes. I've seen him have some freshman errors for sure, but we're watching Wilkin, who's older than him, just let guys run right by him, man. To me, just roll with the young dude and let him grow up quick. Who is UT's defensive line coach right now? I know they got that one outside backers coach that initially came here. He was here for like a week, and then he switched up. He came from Washington with DeBoer. Right tackle still an issue. Yeah, and going against these guys, definitely want to get that.
457-200 or click on advertise with us on our website.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Rodney Garner. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's go ahead and hear from Kane Wallman. Before we do that, quick, just I guess response to what Coach Ryan Grubb had to say. He mentioned Michael Carroll and Wilkin Formby. To me, what I took away from that was when he gave the example of calling him out in the meeting room, kind of put him on the spot, testing him. It's still just a thing about him being a freshman, getting him up to speed. And right, he even mentioned that when things are going fast, he's got to be able to pick up too. The only way he's going to learn is by experience. And I think at this point, man, like it almost feels like they're just trying to use Wilkin to kind of buffer that, I guess, that the process of getting him ready, right? Instead of just throwing him in there completely, which initially I totally understand that. But I feel like we're going on game 7 or so, whatever it is. At this point, man, I would just roll with Michael Carroll and just let him work, man. Because in my opinion, Michael Carroll basically, I think what it comes down to is Michael Carroll is a little bit more of a liability in terms of knowing what to do, and then Wilkin obviously is more of a liability on actually executing. To me, I think that's evident. So personally, I would just go ahead and just rock with Michael Carroll and just let him get his feet wet and learn as he goes. Because I mean, it's not like the guy hasn't played at all. I mean, the dude's played a lot of snaps. But what's interesting is people only talked about that side, but even if you look at left guard, I mean, they still rotate Will Sanders in there. So, I mean, I don't know, man. All I know is you got to get that offensive line as clean up as possible, especially going against another front. Again, Tennessee's pass defense is terrible, but the guys up front are some really good players. Now, I would say going against Missouri's front last week, I know we gave up 4 sacks. Really, a number of those were actually on Ty holding it too long. So, believe it or not, I feel like even though we haven't played great, I would say, or at least in pass pro, I feel like it's not as bad as it could be, but it still needs to be better, especially when you've got these guys coming up. You got Oklahoma. Hell, even Auburn's front looks pretty decent as well. So, just got to get that sealed up, and I think that would definitely help us reach that full potential offensively, because I feel like we still have some meat on the bone there. As well as we're playing, there's definitely some stuff to clean up as well. You mentioned stuff like with Ty, right? We've talked about it here on the show already. Just, getting out of the habits of holding the ball too long, trying to make something out of nothing that's not there. Get rid of it. Don't get behind the chains. You know what I mean? But other than that, everything else has been pretty solid. Running game picking up. So all that is good. All right, let's jump over to Kane Womack real quick in here from the defensive coordinator from yesterday when he did his press conference.
When you look back on last week, I do think there is a lot of fight in our players right now that we have developed, and very proud of our guys in that. If you think about from where we've come a year ago, where we came in the first game of the season, I think there's certainly a lot of fight that our team has, and it's helping us. It's helping us on the road. It's helping us respond to adversity at home. Those are things that we've got to continue to build upon. One thing that I do think we've got to continue to grow is going from, a team that knows how to fight back and finding ways to put teams away. That's something that I thought we left opportunities as a football team on the field Saturday in Columbia, and those are things that we need to continue to work and get corrected. The exciting thing is I think our best football is still ahead of us as a team, as a defense. Certainly, there were some opportunities that we left out on the field.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. Wait, the O-line has been the most consistent part of the offense. What are we watching? Is that sarcasm? Sorry, I'm just really confused by that comment. I mean, you think they've been more consistent than the quarterback, who's like leading the country in Heisman odds, or even, the receiver room, who, even with the best receiver not really having the impact that we thought he'd have, still producing the way they're producing, even with the young guys, that's got to be sarcasm.
You look at the beginning of the game, truly unacceptable start. Eyes not being in the right place, fundamentally not being locked in, and those are things that we've got to do a better job as players and coaches of preparing to play each snap like it's the most important play of the game from a fundamental standpoint and from an eye progression standpoint. Doing your job over and over again is really the mark of a great defense. And if you look at the landscape of college football right now, there's plenty of mistakes out there. There's plenty of eye violations and poor fundamentals and all those things that you got to be able to, essentially do your job at a very high level. And that's something that
All right, you're getting me distracted. We're going to listen to this Kane Wallman, but stay in here, bro, please, because I will gladly explain whatever you're trying to talk about. But let me get through this.
I think we're taking steps towards, but certainly we left a number of things out there on the table. Third downs, we're certainly improving as a third down defense. I think some of our pass rush is improving in terms of finding ways to to speed up the timing of the quarterback. I do think we were able to affect the quarterback last week, and certainly that helped. In certain pass rushes and pressures. And then, we had 5 opportunities to create takeaways. We only came away with 2 of them. So that's something that we've got to do a better job. Love that we're creating the opportunities, but something that we can be way more consistent in finding ways to take the ball off of people. So when you look at this week, obviously another great rival, great opponent in the SEC. This is a football team that's operating at a pretty high level offensively right now. I think they're number 1 scoring offense in the country. That seems to be a theme of offenses that we've faced recently. And so, I have tremendous respect for this coaching staff. Their players are very disciplined, physical football team, create a lot of explosives downfield. They're committed to it schematically. And they have shown that they can respond to adversity. So we certainly have a great challenge ahead of us, and one that I think we're all excited to get started on our week of preparation.
Just start with Nick here on the front right.
Yeah, Damani Jackson got the start, but John Lee, I think, played about twice as many snaps as him. What kind of led to that decision of how those snaps are distributed?
Well, we talk about it all the time, right? A body of work, and you have to answer for the things that we put on tape. And we just felt like what Dijon was doing in the game, and as the game was going on, he was operating at a very efficient level and doing his job at an efficient level. And so, what you do in practice and what you do in games ultimately determines, the amount of playing time moving forward. And so Dijon's certainly in a very good trajectory right now.
Let's go Chase on the far left.
When you're building a game plan and the other team has got a really good receiver who's 6'5", like Chris Brazil, is there any inclination to take your 6'4" corner who you were just talking?
Do some of those things for sure, but when they're going fast, it's hard sometimes to just say, hey, we're going to go trade and match corners over all the time. Those and you can do. Some of it is based upon what type of coverage you're wanting to play. Some of it is situational, but DBs other than that, right? Sabian Brown is 6'2", you know what I mean? We've got guys that are long, but certainly we'll look at whatever matchups we can have. So you stop by my office afterwards and any other ideas. Thanks.
Let's go to Alex on the back left.
Damani was obviously a guy you relied a lot on the game when there is that.
Damani has done great things here and played good football, but doing it at a very consistent level, play in and play out, and doing your job is ultimately what we're all measured by. And so I've told you guys this before, right? You are accountable for what you put on tape. You have to answer for those things. Myself as a coordinator, schematically, the way our guys play, effort, finish, I'm accountable for those things. Our consistent level, and that's something that, not just Damani, a number of our players have to continue to improve if we want to get to where we want to go.
Walk through the play call on that Dijon lead, that final interception.
So, that was it was a zone style coverage, a vision based coverage that we ran. We tried to mix man and zone against them. We tried to mix some pressure against them as well. Their quarterback did a decent job of getting the ball out against us early when we had brought some pressure. But we felt like if we can pressure him enough, we would speed up his tempo. And we showed a little bit of a look that we might be pressuring there, and then got to a position to where we affected him enough that he tried to force a ball that they had gone to that concept earlier in the game, and he was looking for it, didn't have it, came back to it again, and probably if you're looking at that, he probably forced the throw a little bit. But our guys did a really nice job. Our underneath zone defenders are doing a really good job of taking what we call some of the line of sight line of the quarterback and forcing him to put air on the ball. And the balls, right, tips and overthrows, got to get those, right? So that's an overthrow, and we came up with it.
Way better, that's something you want to work on. Tangibly, what does that look like in practice this week to work on that?
Well, we talked about this as a staff. I don't want to say, it's easy to sit there and look at the game and go, we got to start faster, we got to finish better, but it really comes down to playing each snap with great eye progression, great fundamentals, and just doing that over and over and over again. And for us as a defense, the areas where we have given up plays, it has been we are not doing our job at a high enough level. Certainly there's been some things schematically every now and then that, hey, all right, I got to have a better answer for that for sure. But most of our issues are things that we can correct and we can fix and look at how we need to finish. We need to do the same high-level job that we have shown throughout games more consistently, and that's going to be football from here to eternity, right? And we can certainly do better than what we're doing right now. And so, again, I think our best football is ahead of us, and it is our job as a coaching staff and players to push ourselves to find a way to just continually get better in SEC.
You talk about what you've seen from a young player like Keon Superman.
I know our fans have been waiting on that, waiting on him to, take steps, and him in the off season that he's taken steps in the right direction. One at the beginning of the season, but he's just continually taking steps in the right direction. And so he has a role for us now. Different pass rush scenarios. He's getting better and better at his down in and down out play. The rest of the season, right? It's just about doing your job fundamentally. And he took advantage of those reps and produced for us on game day. So excited for him, as I am a number of guys within our defense.
Good deal. Sorry, I started to kind of go through there a little quicker. That way we could finish up right there. But that was Kane Womack speaking to the media yesterday. Obviously, we've got a number of things to break down from that. But first, we got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll do that. And I'll respond to some of you guys in the chat right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right, so let me just address this real quick because I'm kind of confused. So we had this comment come up. The offensive line has been the most consistent part of the offense. What are we watching? Respectfully, I don't know what you're watching, bro. And to go even further, if they were that consistent, you wouldn't rotate 7, 8 guys across offensive line. I don't know what your explanation for that would be. Because if they're consistent, you wouldn't do that. Right tackle's not consistent. Right guard's not consistent. Left guard's not consistent. 3 out of your 5 positions are not consistent. The only consistent positions is center and left tackle. So I don't understand that. And then the point about Ty, obviously benefiting from that. If you listen to the show consistently, what do I say every week, guys? We only go as far as the offensive line can go. I mean, I'm well aware of them and what they're doing. And I always say, I give credit when they play well. I said they played well against Georgia. I thought they played decent against Vanderbilt, right? Definitely gave up some stuff. But again, Ty also always say, Ty has, he's been responsible for probably about half the sacks. But we've given up 4 and 4, I think, last 2 games. He's probably been responsible for about half of them, holding it too long. Backs missed a couple things against Missouri. I'm not saying it's only the offensive line, but then even part of the reason we didn't have a running game early in the year wasn't really, I know Jam was out, but a lot of that also was because the offensive line failed to execute. So I don't know where you come up with that. They've been the most consistent group on the offense. I mean, that's crazy to me. When you got a quarterback who's literally playing like the best quarterback in the country, and yes, you got to credit a lot to the guys protecting him. We know that, but I mean, you're talking about the throws that he's making. I mean, then also the fact that standing in pressure, right, doing the things he's doing. I mean, he's been doing a lot of stuff on his own too. The receiving group. I mean, we hadn't dealt with a whole bunch of drops. I mean, outside of Ryan having some drops, but they've been consistent. They've stepped up, and not even just having 1-2 guys. I mean, you're talking about 5 guys that literally are all making impacts. So I don't see how you put the offensive line above the receiver room, the quarterback, the backs. I mean, again, Jam had been out several games, but I mean, running backs weren't bad. Kevin Riley stepped up big time. Thought he's done some really good stuff. Hell, even the tight ends. I mean, they've had some whiffs in run blocking, but I mean, Cuevas has been great. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. We're learning a lot and improving each week. I would like to see us improve on 8 sacks in the last 2 weeks. Some on the quarterback also. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Well, I'm curious what some of you guys think. I don't know where he's coming up with that. I mean, they definitely are contributing to a lot of stuff he's doing. And I've said, I mean, they've kept him pretty clean most of the time, but to say that they've been the most consistent part of the offense, that's entirely false. Entirely false. Ryan, not the best receiver, been saying that since last season. He's dynamic, but isn't the best receiver. Well, we've also said on the show, I mean, you can tell he's got a lot that he needs to still improve on. But I definitely would say in terms of the highest ceiling and, big playability, I mean, there's a reason, he's, heavily touted like that. But I agree. I mean, I would say Jeremy Bernard is the best all-around receiver that we have right now. I mean, that's evident. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. We only got a couple minutes here, so we'll respond real quick to Kane Womack, and then when we come back, Smitty, I hope you're still on the line. I promise we're coming to you, man. We'll get to you as soon as we come back from the top of the hour break. A couple things from Kane Womack that he said, just to kind of recap. I mean, he talked about the what do you want to call this? So I guess the whole deal with DJ Lee and Damani Jackson, right? Obviously, DJ Lee getting a lot more snaps and probably going to see that number increase. And I talked about it yesterday, but I mean, look, I look at it like this. I mean, you got one guy who's trending this way and another guy who's trending that way. And obviously, you're going to roll with the guy who's trending this way. And two, the other thing is, look, you're talking about stopping the run. A lot of it has been issues with run fit, specifically on the second, third levels, right? D-line has actually been doing a pretty good job, even though they've suffered, a number of injuries. And I know there's been a lot of talk about them not really doing the greatest job, but I would say that they've been playing a lot better in recent weeks. And I say that to say DJ Lee is a much more physical cornerback. We've seen that Damani has struggled and run support coming up and being able to offer that physical edge right at that corner spot. And look, DJ Lee, it's quite the opposite. You're talking about a dude that's much bigger, much more physical, and the fact that he's showing that obviously he can hold his own in coverage, right? It's not like he's a liability or anything, and he clearly knows the system, right? I know they talk about Michael Carroll still trying to get up to speed. DJ Lee, I know it's another side of the football, but is a little bit more up to speed, right, with his development. I think it makes sense. Plus, sometimes guys, when they get less snaps, it kind of not necessarily like a wake-up call, but it helps them get right. And so maybe that might not be a bad thing for Damani. And I talked about yesterday too. He's still going to see the field. I just think maybe you just look at it like, all right, DJ Lee, your true every down corner, but then bring Damani in when you get into those dime packages. This week, you're playing a Tennessee football team that runs a lot of 10, 11 personnel. You're going to see a lot of nickel and dime for sure, right? You're going to have a number of DBs on the field. So regardless, they're both going to have to play a lot. They're both going to have to make plays in this game because this Tennessee offense definitely is very explosive and requires that. But not only, for those guys in the passing game, but when Tennessee does decide to run the football or they're throwing those screens, right? That's why to me might not be a bad idea having a guy like DJ Lee in there, right? He can be a little bit more physical for you. So that was interesting. Then obviously with Keon Keeley, discussed that. Trying to get him some more opportunities. That's going to be good for him. Obviously, he's been working his tail off behind the scenes. So really glad that it's starting to pay off. Like he said, a lot of people have been asking me all the time. Everybody asks me, oh, where's Keon? Where's Keon? Well, he's finally getting some more opportunities. But you heard him, just like I said, in terms of the defense. A lot of it really comes down to we just got to execute better, right? Run fits, right? Taking better angles, right? Getting off of blocks, not just okay, I'm doing my job. No, somebody's got to get off and make the tackle, make the play. We've been doing a much better job of that, and he knows that. That's why he referenced that, and he threw in obviously himself as well, but which is true at times. But I'll say this: I thought the guys have done a really nice job last couple of weeks, just playing with a lot more intensity, doing a lot better job of being gap sound. Still some things we need to clean up, but pass rush, getting pressure on the quarterback was an issue. They've been finding ways to do that. Still don't have that dominant guy outside of LT, who's not like your true edge guy, but they're finding ways, whether it's bringing some pressure. They've been running a lot more games, right? A lot of TE, ET games, trying to really dice up the front, and I think that's been effective as well. Yanze Pierre obviously coming along has been huge. So I think this defense is taking some nice steps, and I think they're really they're getting better, right? I mean, I don't think we still are nearly where we probably need to be and where we can be, but we're taking the right steps, and that's always important. So let's go ahead and hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we go to the phone lines. We got Smitty up first, and we'll have to go to the press conference one more time to hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer, and then we'll keep on letting it roll right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
WT.
Switch DJ with Jones. Can't do that. They play two different spots. Jones plays Husky. DJ's not an interior guy. He's an outside corner. I wouldn't put him right there. I mean, you could try him, see if he could do it, but personally, I think he's more of an outside guy. You know what I mean? Tall, lengthy guys like that at corner, like DBs, they're mostly outside guys, if not all the time. That's why when they go dime, they bump Xavier Brown inside because I know he's 6'2", so I guess he's a little tall, but he's more natural at that spot, right, than a guy like DJ Lee. I hear what you're saying. I mean, in a perfect world, you would say, all right, yeah, just get all three of them on the field in nickel too, not just dime, but it's the spots that they play. If you're going to do that, what you're describing, you'd have to bump either Damani or ZB inside, but DJ needs to stay on the outside. I know our sacks right now is not that high, but I would be interested to know what our QB pressure rate is. Yeah, I'm not too sure what the pressure rate is. I don't subscribe to PFF or any of that, so I don't know if any of you guys do. Man, let us know. I'm curious too, but I feel like we've been definitely getting a lot more pressure on the quarterback. That's why I don't get caught. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know our sack number. I mean, I'm assuming it's pretty low. I think on the TV copy they mentioned it was pretty low, but I have no idea what our sack number is. And I'll be honest with you. Even me being an edge guy, I could care less. I mean, it's great because if your sack number is high, obviously you're affecting the quarterback. But what I'm saying is when it's low, that doesn't paint the whole picture. Because I would argue that even though it's not that high, I do feel like you do, Superfly. I feel like we've been getting much more pressure on the quarterback in recent weeks, which is the most important thing. And it's not just calling a whole bunch of pressure. Like I said, if you go back and watch, I mean, we've been running a lot of games up front, them putting Deontay down there, whether he's in that buck spot like I used to play, where you mugged up on the B gap and you're working from that spot, or even just put him on the edge. Just finding different things to try to bring some pressure. I thought it's been a lot more effective. LT has been great, but again, he's not like a, you know, you look at Tennessee or like Missouri, they have like true edge guys. I mean, the only guy we had, like Yonze's like outside backer edge guy, but outside of him, and then you had Quay, he's down right now. We just don't really have that. I mean, but LT is just so disruptive, right? Whether it's from a 4-eye, from a 5. I just wish we had, I mean, Yonze paired up with him is good, but I wish we had like one more guy, like one of these Zion Youngs, Damon Wilson, even the Joseph guy from Tennessee, one of those guys. I mean, I thought we'd be able to do some damage for real. All right, here we go.
9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Don't forget right now, goodfeetkickforcash.com is where you guys need to go to sign up. Again, they will be doing it this weekend, right? You got a chance to win a couple $1,000s, right? And I want to say, if you get up to the 40-yard mark, you get a chance to win up to $10,000, which we're talking about really big money. But initially, the 20-yard field goal, you move on to the 30-yard field goal. If you make that, you'll win $1,000. If you don't, you'll still walk away with $500. No field goal, you still get a Good Feet Store prize pack. But again, who does not want free money or free cash or free anything? So go to goodfeetkickforcash.com, and to enter, all you got to do is type in your first and last name and your email. That's all you got to do. And then if you get selected, good luck and make your kicks. So, again, obviously everything starts with your feet, taking care of those feet, whether it's kicking field goals or just living your day-to-day life. Make sure you guys check out the Good Feet Store. Again, they've got them all over the place. You got one in Birmingham. You got one in Madison. You got one in Mobile, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, all over Alabama. You can find a Good Feet Store. Go to their website, goodfeet.com, to find the nearest location to you. Again, these are premium arch supports designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain. They're game changers. All you do is put them in your shoes and get back to working, hanging out, working out, whatever it is that you do on the day-to-day. And they'll help alleviate and eliminate all that pain. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. And here's the website right here if you guys haven't. Good Feet Kick for Cash. Different website than the normal one, but this is it right here, goodfeetkickforcash.com. All right, let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Smitty. Smitty, welcome in.
Christian, how's it going today?
Oh, man, I'm great, brother. How are you?
Good. Just driving back to Atlanta, got to fly back to Phoenix. And I always tell people, my parents are getting older, so guys, if you're able to see your parents, spend time with them because tomorrow ain't promised.
That's right, man.
But before I get on Alabama, so things about college football that we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get in this NIL era, like Hugh Freeze, you don't get the quarterback right, you may lose your job. Especially like him and James Franklin. You can't be an offensive guy and can't get the quarterback right. That means you're not evaluating your expertise on the side of the ball correctly. I'm sorry. Caleb Boyd has done a good job evaluating quarterbacks for the record, But I hear all this talk about, when Penn State let go of Franco, get all these coaches. And all these people keep talking NIL portal, but I think the difference is schools like Missouri and Indiana are actually paying their coaches big boy money now. So they may not be as quick to jump. Because let me ask you, Christian, if you get $9 million at Missouri, with their expectations for $8 million in Indiana, with their expectations, why would you go to Penn State?
Well, I mean, it depends, man. I mean, nowadays you got a lot of more factors than I had to really consider.
Yep.
NIL and everything else. But even with the transfer portal, I'm not gonna lie to you, I probably wouldn't have been as stressed because I'd be like, hell, if it don't work out, I can always leave after a year. I didn't really have that luxury. So I guess it all depends, man. It all
Get a
depends.
coach for security. And like with a coach, why would he leave that job to get to the pressure cooker? I'm like, if like Missouri won't get mad at me if I go 9-3, but Florida will, Penn State will, you know. And I think that's one thing. But when it comes to Alabama, right? One thing I hear people always get mad about close games. Guys and gals, we've been playing close games since Bryce Young became the starter. You know, but yes, Georgia plays a lot of close games. The NFL, you see a team go 24-7 and end up they winning like 31 or 27. That is how it is. A lot of cases. But what it's showing you is you have to have a coach. You got to have a guy that's good with X's and O's and a good staff to go along with that. Because look at Missouri. Look at that front they had. But Alabama did a good job scheming stuff, and some things didn't work out, like Ty getting his foot stepped on, and you know, things of that sort. But I just think now, I don't know about you, but coaching actually is becoming even more apparent now and important than it was even 10 years ago. I'm talking about the X's and O's type, you know.
Yeah. I mean, partly because there's a lot more parity. I mean, just like you mentioned, Missouri. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Missouri, I mean, they've been dropping bags in recruiting too. I'm pretty sure. I mean, they've landed some really highly rated guys in the recent years. So yeah, I think exactly. So it's important. Yeah, I mean, like coaching, obviously developing that culture, but I think really, I think Vanderbilt's a great example. I mean, with the portal, right? You can go and just bring a guy in, bring coaches in, and you can transform a program much quicker than you could have in years past. So you're right. The landscape is just a lot different now, but you definitely still need the good X's and O's 1,000%, especially now that a lot of more teams are good quality teams. That's why, like, again, it's not so much about barely winning games. I think the message has been a little skewed. I think some people view it as, barely winning. If I took anything away from a close game, I'm more so saying, should it have been close? That's what matters. It's not like surface level is, we used to dominate people. No. How did we get to the result, right? Like if it was a good team and it was a close game, cool. Was it a situation like Missouri where it's a good team, but we also left food on the table and we should have probably beaten them by more? Yeah. And so I don't think there's a problem with acknowledging that part. But at the end of the day, a win is a win, man. And you're right. It's not like since like 2020, I think the last time we really had that dominance on a consistent basis probably was like 2021-ish, maybe, if that.
Yeah, and I'll say this before I run. I like how transparent Ryan Grubb is. Caleb LeBoy is as well, because you're learning how it works. And I'm going to correct Caleb LeBoy and Ryan Grubb on this. Guys, we had to go for a fourth today because Connor Talkie is scared of his shadow when you go past 40. He ain't winning the defeat money from that ad. He ain't winning that money. So, you know, but guess what? They knew it. And it shows how much confidence they have in Ty. And I think with this staff, I like the fact that they're playing some of these young guys who are performing. Because, hey, if Domani Jackson doesn't want to step up and stop the run, Dijon Lee is like, hey, I'll take those snaps. Or Michael Carroll seeing Wilkin Formby, who's slow and soft, I'll take those snaps. You know, or Kevin Riley did this year. Hey, I'll take those snaps. And they're being rewarded for it. And I think that is a good message to the locker room where, hey, it's like Pete Carroll back in the day. Competition at every position. If you don't show up, someone will take your spot. And my last thing, Christian, thanks for taking my call. I remember when Ryan Grubb said, hey, I wasn't hard enough for Ty Simpson. So these coaches aren't throwing themselves under the bus. They're big on saying, why do we win? Why do we lose? And I think players respond to that. But, hey, thanks for taking my call. Keep up the great work, good brother.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Smitty. Good stuff as always, man. Take care, bro. No, he's right, man. Best players will play. I was pulling this stat up real quick, just along with the whole offensive line conversation. I don't know. That still kind of blew me about that whole deal. It's one thing if it's like you just say like, oh, I thought the O-line's been doing pretty. But it's like, oh, what are we watching? They've been the most consistent group, man. You kind of you're kind of making it seem as if I don't know what I'm talking about, which is kind of crazy. But number one, just by the tape alone, I mean, it will tell you that they're not the most consistent group. Number two, the fact that, again, we're rotated 7 to 8 guys, right, across offensive line. You don't do that when you have a sure bunch. You don't publicly talk about an ongoing right tackle battle. And then again, left guard, they're still rotating. Right guard is Vandenberg 1 minute. You've seen them swap Michael Carroll and put Wilkin at guard. You've seen them. Jaden Roberts is now back in the picture. I know he was banged up initially. Who else am I missing? Isn't there another right guard that's been playing there? Why am I drawing a blank? Anyway, there's that piece. And then the element of we're 89th, we're tied for 89th nationally in sacks given up, right? Which again, I know some of those are on tie, but still, I'm just throwing that out there. I wish I had the pressures, but I don't. And then rushing offense, which I get, we like to throw the football, but we're 101st in the country. So, I mean, and then again, the most important part is just actually turning on and watching the tape. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like somebody said he's trolling. I think he was dead serious though. And I'm not. And here's the thing though. Even with all that said, I still think the offensive line has been doing a decent job. But to call them the most consistent, and maybe this is what he wanted me to just give attention to this, but to call them the most consistent group offensively is absurd. When you literally have a quarterback that is like talked about as like the Heisman frontrunner right now, and arguably the best quarterback in the country. Which again, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, that's you can't do it without the offensive line." Bingo. I mean, I say that week in and week out. I've been saying that. That's been my key the whole time for this season. That said, they haven't always performed like that. So, and a lot comes from, a lot of stuff that he's doing well too. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Let's do this. Let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. I think we might have another phone call to get to. Definitely need to still go back and hear some from Kalen DeBoer and a couple more things on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Yeah, you guys tell me, because again, I just want to make sure, like, you guys know I obviously watch all these games. But when somebody says that with like that type of conviction, like as if like I'm tripping by saying that they need, what did I even say? What did I say? They need to be more consistent or whatever. Can you imagine Dallas Turner rushing against Formy? Oh, brother, talk about a bloodbath. Barbecue chicken. Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal. Who you trust more, Williams or Brooks? Game on the line. Damn, I'm not gonna lie to you right now. I'll probably go with Brooks. And listen, no shade at Ryan, but man, Brooks has been stepping up. Like the catches that he's not just like the one he just had from Missouri, but even like earlier in the game, right, where Ty, hit him and he kind of had to adjust a little bit behind. And I mean, that dude, he's very consistent. I think he had that one drop against who was it? Like early in the game against maybe Wisconsin or Vanderbilt. But other than that, I mean, I feel like I don't know if he's hardly had any other drops. I think he had like one or two a little bit earlier in the year, but since then, I mean, that dude has been solid. They aren't the most consistent. We've been saying that since 22. However, they have improved since week 1. That might be what he meant. But see, that's a whole different thing. I mean, like, no, and I've complimented them. I said it all the time how much better they're playing, but still, you like to hear his take on what, the Tennessee game? Well, don't worry. I'm going to give you guys plenty of a breakdown. I'm just spacing it out now because what happens is today's Tuesday, right? And what most people do is they talk about, they do one show, like a 30-minute show breaking the game down. They do like another 15-minute like final recap. I mean, I got 5 days of 2 hours a piece. Like, so I'm just spacing it out. But I finally heard from him this past weekend. He said he took like a week and a half off. He was burnt out from doing all this preaching and stuff or something. But then I haven't heard from him since. Phil says we're all with you. What else is I going to? Is there any other questions I missed? Oh, can we slow down Tennessee's offense? They average 100 more yards per game than us. I know they haven't played 3 ranked teams, but they did put 41 on Georgia. Yeah, and I'll dive into this, Phil, man, again, man. Their offense, I mean, Josh Heupel, I mean, his system, he operates it as good as anybody. They'll go tempo. They'll hit you. They'll run the ball. They'll throw it out. I mean, they'll definitely take shots. They rely on those explosive plays down the field, which they hit a number of them on Georgia for sure. And I'll definitely pull up some of that stuff. Let's see. I feel like I missed something. Is it me, or do we just look lost at times in the back end? Receivers uncovered, or several DBs in the same areas of the zone we play? I mean, there's always going to be like mental. What you call them mental errors or misassignments, like Ryan Grubb called it. But you might see some of that in zone sometimes. In man, you shouldn't really see too much of that. But in zone, yeah, it can happen. Depends on routes being ran too. It could be a number of things, but I feel like we've been better in that aspect this year, in my opinion, at least. But we also haven't really been tested. I saw a stat. I think we've had the ball thrown against us like the second fewest in the country, or something crazy like that. Like no one really has thrown the ball against us much. Here, let me just pull this up while I'm thinking about it. Pull up this Tennessee-Georgia game real quick just to show you some of these looks. Drew from DC on the line. New caller. All right, cool. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Drew from DC up next. Drew, welcome in.
Hey, Christian, how's it going?
It's going well, brother. It's your first time calling?
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Big fan of the show, especially I think when you and your dad used to have your banter back and forth a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan of yours going back to the Oklahoma playoff game. I think you were one of the guys that got one of the first sacks on Kyler Murray.
Yes, sir.
Wish you guys had been able to close the deal against Clemson, but,
Man.
Big fan of the show.
I appreciate that, man. No doubt. Yeah, I'm trying to get my dad. He said he was a little burnt out from preaching recently. So, I mean, we'll see if he got some rest recently and getting hot back on there. I know he will probably soon. We've got South Carolina coming up. So he's going to magically have some energy that week. You know that.
Right.
Yes,
well,
sir.
hey, I'm up here, like I said, I'm up here in D.C., so I'm not there in the state anymore. I did grow up in Alabama, big Alabama fan. But, I hear a lot of thoughts weekly about Kalen DeBoer, whether or not he's the right fit, and some of that talk has cooled off since the FSU game. But I'm really curious about Womack, the defensive coordinator. Just wondering what your thoughts are and kind of what the feel is around the organization as far as him being the defensive coordinator and his scheme, player development, how he's recruiting. Because, I mean, we're winning games, but I still feel like there aren't many games where the defense has kind of taken over or we've won because of the defense. So I'm really just curious about, like I said, your thoughts and just kind of what the sense is around him as the DC. Is he a good fit? Are we still waiting on him to get more pieces in? And then, how he is overall as a coach on that side of the ball.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'll say this. I think similar to the conversations about, Coach DeBoer, I think even with him, a lot has kind of cooled down recently just because you look at, Georgia, right? Second half, not allowing any points. Really, I would say that actually might have been an instance where defense somewhat kind of could get credit for a big piece of that win. You know what I mean? They did a nice job in that one. And then you look at Vanderbilt. And I'm not saying you're wrong with what you're saying because it does kind of feel like that. But then I feel like they have some sneaky. It's like they sneak in some actually some strong statistics, performance, whatever you want to label it. But even Vanderbilt, outside of the first quarter, they which I think they allowed almost over 100 yards on the ground. Second, third, and fourth quarter, the rest of the 3 quarters in the game, they were held to 22 yards. So it's interesting, man. I'll say this. I think my biggest flaw, I guess, for this defense is the inconsistency. And I feel like we give up way too many explosive plays. But it's hard to really put a finger on it because we've shown the ability to do some really good stuff. So I'll say this, man. I think they get better each week. I feel like that was similar to what we saw last season. I know they started out real hot in those early games, having a bunch of turnovers, and everybody was talking about, oh, this is a swarm defense, and we were riding high. And then we started kind of dipping down, and then we kind of went back up to the rest of the year. I felt it got better. Then obviously at the end, it kind of went a little south. But I think the biggest thing is they have to find a way to be consistent and limit those explosive plays. And really, when you look at it, most of the time they come from just guys not being gap sound or guys not executing the way they need to execute. Now, I do think there's definitely some scheme stuff that needs to be better, some stuff we could probably get rid of, but that's going to probably be anybody. I've gotten a little bit more adjusted to it. I know at first it was a little bit different to me because, with Coach Saban's system, it was just, again, I got a playbook right in front of me and it's just so in depth. We have an answer for everything. There's so many checks within calls, and that's what I'm used to. And I know how successful that was for us. So to see a new style where it's more, a lot less of stuff and just a little bit more relying on the players to just be guys to go, be dudes, right? Make plays. I feel like there's pros and cons to everything. But long story short, I would say this, man. I'm definitely not writing it off at all. I think there's definitely more to tap into with it. I think he would benefit from getting a few more. I know we have good players on defense, but I feel like if he could get some dudes, right, if they invest a little bit more money on the defensive side of the football, I think it would look a lot better. I'll tell you right now, I think if we had the front that Missouri had or some of these other teams, I think this defense plays a whole lot different, if I'm being completely honest with you. I just don't think we have those elite guys on our front seven right now. And I think that makes a huge difference. I promise you, if we had guys like Missouri had, this defense looks a whole hell of a lot different. So I want to see it with some dudes like that first before I completely write the system off.
Yeah, you bring up some good points because they did pretty much shut Vanderbilt down and Georgia in the second half. So
hell, they held Missouri's leading rusher. To cut you off, but I forgot. Even Ahmad Hardy.
No, you're right.
Top running back in the country. They held him to 52 yards. Granted, he only had, I think he only had 11 carries or something. They didn't, run as much as I thought they would. But still, the fact they win in that game, and again, outside that first drive, they actually played well. It's funny. It's almost like it's like it's almost like deceiving you a little bit because it's like you see those big explosives, and then you just kind of, since we're used to kind of getting frustrated, we label everything. But when you really dive into the weeds and you say, all right, outside of this drive, outside of these few explosive plays, two of Missouri's rushes went for 62 yards. You take those away out of that 160 something or 163, that's 101 yards against a team that went into the game as the top rushing team in the country or one of the. So they're doing a lot of good stuff, man. It's just sometimes it doesn't look pretty, and I do think sometimes they kind of have that bend but don't break thing, which I'm not a fan of. But I think a lot of it can be cleaned up.
Absolutely. And last thing, I think you're right on getting more dudes, getting more of maybe his players that fit his scheme. As some of the Saban holdouts kind of matriculate out, because I think if he can get a little bit more pass rush, I think we see him take to that next level. So appreciate your input.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you hit it, man. You're right. That's like give us Missouri's edge guys that you don't need to bring pressure. Let those guys let it rip off the edge, and give me a dude in the middle that's going to really change the game, like a Quinnen Williams. You know what I mean? And I agree. I think it looks a lot different. Plus, even like just get some linebackers in there that fit what you're trying to do, because the way they play is different than what I was used to seeing. But you're right, man. No, I think if we can do that, it looks a lot different. But Drew, hey, man, I appreciate you calling, man.
Hey, thanks.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, sir. Sounds good, man. Good deal. Always cool hearing from new callers, man. Drew from DC, man. That's a new area I feel like we just unlocked, Chase. I mean, we've got New York, we've got California, we've got Florida, we've got Tennessee, Georgia. Man, didn't we have somebody from Utah? Yeah, we have Utah. We got callers from all over, man. But DC, that's a new one, I think. So shout out to Drew, man. Good stuff. But no, I totally understand the question, because a lot of people kind of feel like that. Like they're kind of like even though we're doing a lot of good stuff right now defensively, they still kind of like, I'm a little on the fence with it. And I get it. But it's I don't know the words to describe it, Chase, but I feel like we're like sneakily doing a lot of good. It doesn't always look like it, because you put so much attention on that first drive against Missouri, or you put so much attention on Georgia busting, 3-4, explosive runs. But then if you look at it as a whole, like outside of say take 60 plays and you got 5 explosives, which is a lot for, a game, it kind of paints a picture, but it's not the whole picture. And so I think that's part of it. But the mugging backers on first and second down, take that crap out the playbook. Let's take that out. We don't need that. Even like the Vol packages they call it. I think like just they put the wolf like mugged kind of like the B gap stuff on early downs. To me, man, I don't know, man. Give me a mint front. Give me a traditional even front. Just give me something that's just, you know what I mean, like that. Like I just feel like we try to get a little too cute with some stuff. And to be honest with you, I think in recent weeks, we've been doing a little bit less of that. We still do it sometimes, but I haven't seen as many backers mugged up on early downs. We still see the wolf doing that whole deal, but really, and I think that's been a lot more helpful, because we've seen guys like Jordan Renaud get in there, and you're seeing more just true even fronts, Jordan Renaud, LT, and look, guys can really just play their game. We're not trying to do too much. So that would probably be one of the things that I would change if it was me. But again, he gets paid way more money to do that. So I'm not here to sit there and try to tell somebody to do their job. I'm just offering my opinion because you guys asked. All right. We got to take a time out. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Your flagship home.
Looks messy at times. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if we could just clean things up, get it like, it's crazy. We're talking about simplifying something that's supposed to already be simple. And I'm not saying only staying even fronts. I'm saying like, some even fronts like we've seen, right? Mint front, which again is 4-eye, 0, 4-eye. But then you got like an outside backer on the edge. I mean, we used to play a whole hell of a lot of mint front. And it's a damn good front. It stops the run, but it still gives you that flexibility. Because think about it, a 4-eye, 0, and a 4-eye, you're kind of clogging that stuff up. You still got your inside backers. You got a jack/wolf linebacker. They can play off the edge as well to set an edge. Can walk if you need them to. You can do a number of things with it. So again, naturally, I'm gonna gravitate to what I'm used to, right? Like we used to call like our flex front was like our base nickel front. That's just a straight, even, 2 ends, a D-tack on the nose. But for me, it's just like the offenses that you face nowadays, I just don't think it's, putting that wolf in like those B gaps kind of on early downs. To me, like I've seen him make plays. Like for example, in Missouri, he ended up Yanze made a nice play because he pretty much was unblocked. He was like mugged in the B gap. He just read the flow of the play, and he ended up being unblocked. Well, it works great when it's like that, but in terms of like run gaps and stuff, and you're just having him flow, sometimes guys are just naturally taking themselves out of position. Unorganized would be the word I would use. Sometimes I feel like it's a little unorganized by trying to do different looks and mix it up. To me, I'm like, yeah. I don't mind the mug on obvious passing downs and long situations, but if I see it on second down, no. Again, let me make this clear. When I say the mug stuff, I'm talking early down situations only. We mugged all the time on third down. That's totally different. You have to mug because you have to show the presence that you're coming. That's how you become more effective when you're blitzing and you're running your pressures and you're simulated. It's like that is different. I'm saying on like early downs, running situations, you're mugged and it's compromising things. To me, I just don't think it's worth it to, all right, we're trying to throw off blocking schemes or mix things up or just whatever, but we're telling our guys to take the step back, and then they watch tape, right? They know half the time, I mean, not even half the time, majority of the time, these guys are mugged up for no reason. I haven't seen them really on first and second down really do anything out of that other than take a drop step. That to me is what I'm not with. Let's see. I was going to show that. I can show this real quick while we're here. Just show them some stuff Tennessee does, right? 11 personnel. This is the first play of the game, right? Play action. Former Alabama tight end, Miles Kitselman. Hitting him across the middle, right? You see what I'm talking about. So in the box, Georgia's got 6 guys in the box right here, right? Just a regular even front. They're in nickel. But see how it spreads you out? This is what I'm talking about. This is why Tennessee's so effective at running the football. Because you see right here, right? You got 6 guys in the box. Well, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically 6 on 6. And then you obviously you have the back in there. But it's hard because, I mean, this apex player, I mean, you got to respect these guys out here. I mean, because they'll throw screens. They'll actually go long. I mean, you got to respect that. And so you talk about our secondary guys and our run fits. This is why it's so important against a team like Tennessee, because you see the numbers game. So if you're talking about they got 6 for our 6, I mean, these got to be free runners. They got to recognize run, and they have to be aggressive, right? Like even being a step behind, if this dude gets a hole, you're talking about even if it's just chunk yardage, right? I mean, that's why Tennessee gets those big chunks because, man, it's a numbers game for them, right? I know they're passing the ball here, but I'm just telling you, they very well could just easily run the ball, and you'll see them do that. But they go play action. The backers are biting. He's wide open. Big play, first play of the game. Let's see. Another play action pass. This time they're taking a shot downfield. Georgia's playing soft because now they're like, again, it's hard. It's like, man, you want to play soft because you know they're going deep, but then they start hitting you with those screens and you start playing aggressive. I mean, Tennessee's offense is very tough to defend. That Josh, why do you think we struggle with USF's offense? Duke came from Tennessee.
Is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And then they go tempo to make it even more difficult. So you're thinking about all this while going tempo, getting back on the ball, going fast. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. Kalen aboard real quick for a minute.
One side of the ball coming through, getting points on the board. Another, the other side, getting a stop, 3 and out, changing field position that way. Kicks when we need it, pinning teams back inside their own 20 in different games, just playing team football. And that's what matters right now. So I think there's a toughness that we have. And, we talk about toughness wins. That's mental, physical to emotional toughness. I think proud of the way our guys, turnover wise, continue to win that battle each and every week. We're winning the time of possession. We took I think, we didn't shut them down, but we took a lot of the things that Missouri did well and flipped the script on that from a time of possession standpoint and kept them from being able to have as many plays as they'd like to be able to continue to hammer away with their run game. That's team football right there. And then I think the penalties too, just, I'm not afraid to talk about it with all those things because it happens through work. You create your own ground. Those will fall in our hands as long as we continue to hustle and get to it because each week has been stacked on top of itself. And these guys have been bringing it at a high level in practice and get a great opponent with Tennessee coming in here this weekend. Understand the rivalry and it's a lot of fun for our fans and it goes back obviously generations. We understand how big of a deal this game is to them. We understand how big of a deal this Coach Heupel, nothing but the utmost respect for him and his staff, just what they're doing and what he's done. Tennessee, his coaching career. Now it's the culture that they've built there too, and looking forward to a great game. We need our fans loud in the country here this weekend. Again, we're playing for a lot each week, and we appreciate the support we get. Our players feel
Coach, I was going to see if you had an update on some of the guys that popped up on the availability report last week. That's Jalen Hale, Jalen Mbakwe, and Caden Jones.
Jalen's been sick. Jalen Hale's been sick. That was the reason why he last minute got put on the report. Who else?
Jalen Mbakwe and Caden Jones.
Bach had a hand injury in practice last week, and he'll be back out there practicing, and we'll see kind of as the week goes on how he goes there. Obviously, he plays receiver, so that affects you a little bit, but there's other things he can do for our football team, and he's in great spirits. Be going through their protocol this week. I hit it on everyone. Caden Jones, he had to have surgery on an ankle injury, and so he'll be down for a little while.
Ty said that he missed a lot of protection checks against Missouri. Is that ultimately completely his responsibility, or does some of that fall on Parker also?
A lot of how we orchestrate it, I think, is pretty easy to see from a football mind. Just that it starts with Parker getting things started, but Ty overrides everything. Ty makes he can see the big picture and knows really what he wants to get to, and whether it's a turnover and it's not his fault, it still falls on his shoulders. The protection checks, and so Ty, he holds himself to such a high level. He's going to take accountability for all of that. He's the one that needs to declare if something's not right or what he feels comfortable with, getting us into that protections. And it doesn't surprise me that he holds himself accountable for all of that.
Let's go to Nick on the far right.
Yeah, kind of the weekly Caden Proctor question about the latest
create or other things that we do. You got we're using it in big moments, exhibition. There's a positive in a way where we can have in him. So continuing to push the envelope for our whole offense to, people always think attack vertically in the passing game, but there's other ways to attack people, and doing it in those moments, it's great to see our guys execute and do a good job.
Coach, when you look at the Missouri game as a whole, you mentioned the resiliency that this team has. Is there a moment that sticks out to you that really defines it, whether it's a conversation of the player, something you overheard, or just what you saw on the field from your team?
I think there's a lot of them. I think the first drive of the game, they go down the field on us, and we respond offensively with a touchdown. And then our defense goes back out there and gets the stop, and then we respond again. No one relaxing, no one flinching, even in that just sequence, 2 offense, 2 defensive series. Then I'm a shock because it was the end of the half. They got a field goal and then a touchdown. All of a sudden, we're in a tie game. And so, what's that look like? And it's coming back, and you can see it. And I know your questions about certain conversations, but I think it's just the look in our guys' eyes, their energy. There's excitement to go back out there, continue to execute. There's not a timidness that they have. It's trust and belief in them and their side of the ball, but it's also a trust and belief that the other side's going to get it figured out. We're going to continue to execute and just continue to apply pressure when we're ahead.
Statement, but you guys are currently tied for the longest home win streak in college football. I'm curious about what separates what.
It's the feeling you even have with the walk into the stadium, and there's just the players. We pull up in the buses. Crowd noise to affect the timing of the snap count for the opponent, the momentum and what that brings. When we're
and just kind of the way he's come along.
Yeah, he just has done a good job of just being patient and but there's just things there's reasons that have kept him from getting on the football field that he just continues to work on, and he's got potential to do some amazing things for us. And working him into different packages this last week, I really liked the growth there. He's been involved in special teams a little bit more in the past few weeks as well. And so just continue to build each week. And as he gets more and more comfortable, I can see that impact being greater and greater. And so I'm really proud of who he's just a great kid in general. That's what makes it fun being on the football field with him. That's what makes you want to pour everything you got into him and help his growth. And then, he's humble and, obviously can make some plays. And so I'm looking to see more and more of him in the weeks ahead.
Go to Jamie on the front right.
Hey, Coach, you said before that every week tells you more about your team after 3 consecutive ranked wins.
It's been a fight for these guys because it's not just those 3 games. We've had our backs to the wall since week 1, and there's a bye week in there. And so I think they've done a great job of taking whatever it is that is against us or whatever the doubt is that people have for our team and taking that energy and just pouring it into what matters most, and that's our preparation. But really being intentional on the work that we're doing. We've referred to just shut up, show up, and do the work. I mean, that's just really what we've kind of honed in on. And in everything we do, we just have an urgency level. And I'm really proud of the guys for not falling off that standard that we had, because that's what human nature is. You're going to be in trouble. And so I'm just proud of the way the guys have been resilient in the matters, in the moments that matter most, and through let their teammates down. And so, again, we got a lot of room for improvement. You've heard from the coordinators in the areas that we've fallen short.
Physical, does that make you practice limited live reps?
You have to continue to keep that in mind on where is your team at? How is this taking a toll? But the pedal is down right now for our guys, and, to tell where our guys are at. And I think from a practice habit standpoint, we practice as hard as you could. There's other pieces to it as well. But we also have to understand, with your question, guys, that, it hits different than others. And so, it's like that. And why is this guy, his rep count down? There's probably a little bit more to that as well that, isn't seen because you're not at practice, and, who's maybe a little bit hobbled and dinged up, and, we're not making all that stuff known all the time, So I'm just really proud of the way these guys, each week, tomorrow morning, I really feel like I know what I'm going to get from our guys. And they've risen to the occasion every week and haven't fallen off. And so that's a credit to them. That's a credit to our coaching staff for finding the ways to really work that we put in all day, each and every day.
All right. So that was head coach Kalen DeBoer speaking to the media yesterday. And now we finished up with those. We can put a close to the press conferences and hit our last timeout, then put a bow on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. All right. All right. Made it through all those. Players spoke to media. We'll hit it tomorrow. We're always going to be like a day behind the way we're rolling, but no worries. We'll definitely get to that. We'll get to that then. I'll just say this, though. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. Him talking about kind of shut up, show up, and go to work, and the urgency and intensity. How do you put this? It's evident that the intensity and the urgency of the way they do things this year has picked up since last year. I think they were a little too lax last year, if you ask me. I'm just being completely honest with you. I think the way they kind of did things I think it reflected how the team looked at times. And I think the reason that you're seeing this newfound intensity now is a reflection of how they're going about handling stuff. That's me being completely transparent, which is good. I like that we're playing cleaner football, fewer penalties, way down. Yeah, and I think that too, Phil, is another reflection of just kind of how they've really changed how they've gone about things, right? I mean, and that happens, right? I mean, year one is year one. Obviously, they're figuring a lot of stuff out, but you can definitely tell that they've turned up the intensity, the attention to details a lot higher. I think last year was just kind of just a little too loose. Now I don't like really saying that too much publicly because I don't want to seem like I'm like, trying to say it in a bad way, but it's just true. I personally I don't think they had enough intensity, discipline in the way they were kind of going about things, but they have it now, though, and that's what matters. All right. Some more Tennessee stuff just to show you guys. Yeah, you can definitely call tomorrow if you want, Rick, since it's short, man. My bad. I just like trying to we haven't really got a chance to listen to all the press conferences yet, so I just wanted to hit. Whoops. Are you seeing improvement on making adjustments after the half? After we had 0 adjustments last year, what are your thoughts? I definitely think there's a lot more going on, if I'm being honest with you, which is good. But I also think part of it too is just that the guys are executing a lot more. But I do feel like we're seeing different things, right? I mean, whether we're showing different personnel groupings defensively, I think that's a big plus, right? The way we like he mentioned, in the first half they saw something, so they wanted to show it a little bit different. I have seen more of that, like them trying to disguise things a little bit different, going with the flow of the game a lot better, right? Which is good. Yeah, I'll look forward to hearing from both you and Q06, Ricky tomorrow, man, for sure. Yeah, my bad, guys. Just all these damn interviews, man. Another 11 personnel look. This time they got trips, formation into the boundary. They go play action. Georgia's bringing pressure. That's where you get hit deep, right? So I wish I knew the sequence before this, but obviously, I mean, for Georgia to bring 7, would they bring 7 right there? Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, man. Just this press conference, man. It take a minute to get through, but yeah, that's that dude, man. It's gonna be an interesting matchup with him on some of our guys. Because he's a big dude, but he's definitely that vertical threat. And I'm curious. I'll be honest with you guys. I think, let's see, Vanderbilt didn't have it. Georgia didn't have it. Missouri didn't have it. Florida State somewhat had it with some. I mean, Florida State has some good receivers. Not somewhat. They had good receivers. Shoot, this is going to be our biggest test in terms of passing offense since Florida State. Wisconsin definitely didn't. So I'm curious to see how we show up, man, because this is going to be a different type of challenge for our defense. This will be a different challenge, man. You see all the play action they get to, man. And I'll slow this down. Tomorrow, I'll definitely dive way deeper in all this.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9. Excuse me, 1230. WTBC presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Now that we've gotten through all those press conferences, I told you guys it's Talking Tuesday, but since it's always flipped around, we talk with you guys on Monday. We're going to have to hear the coaches talk today. So we did that. We're through with that. And now we can start turning our attention to Tennessee. Obviously, we only got a couple minutes left here in the show, but tomorrow we'll definitely start looking a lot more at this matchup, specifically the challenges in this game, especially for our defense. I've got a lot of thoughts on Tennessee's offense, the things that they do that make them a challenge, right? Plus, we'll also look at the other side of the football. Again, what they do on defense that could cause some challenges for our offense. So we'll do that. But just kind of, I guess, an overall quick, elevator speech type deal on what to expect from Tennessee. Offensively, right? They go tempo. They've got that spread offense that they like to run. They like to spread you out. Why? Because they're looking for the numbers game inside. Plus, they also want to hit you down the field and attack you vertically for sure. But you see a lot of play action from these guys. They also run the ball. In terms of statistics, passing-wise, they are the number one passing team in the conference. They're averaging about 318 yards per game, so they definitely want to do it through the air, but don't let that deceive you. They still are the number 3 rushing team in the country, averaging 210 yards per game. So obviously they're a very explosive team. The way they go that tempo, they're going to make it really difficult for you guys as a defense, getting lined up, trying to figure things out. And then where it really gets you is, again, when they spread you out, you got to respect that. And then you're relying on, your guys up front to really do their thing. But then also you got to have some run support. And it's coming a little late, and it's coming from a little bit, of a distance, right? Because they're spreading you out so much. So there's definitely going to be some challenges. Brazel, that receiver, he's definitely a vertical threat, bigger guy. Definitely looking to see how we respond to this. I was saying this during the break. This is going to be our biggest challenge for our secondary since Florida State in terms of personnel, I would say. And Bishop, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, they've got a good group of guys on the outside that you got to respect. Aguilar's doing a nice job. Initially came from App State, then I think he transferred to UCLA, then came to Tennessee. But I mean, it's going to be a challenge. Offensively, they do a lot of stuff. They throw a lot at you, and it just makes it really difficult for a defense. And I'll be honest with you, it's a challenge that if you think about the offenses that we've been playing recently, I mean, you look at Missouri, right? I mean, they're a running team. You look at Georgia, obviously they want to run the football. I know they're balanced, but they're not really doing spread like this or anything. Who else? Wisconsin, not this type of team. Really, I mean, like this type of challenge is interesting because I feel like our defense hasn't seen too much of a spread style like this season. So I'm really interested in this matchup. And then on the other side of the football, they do struggle with their passing defense. They're like dead last in the SEC and in defending the pass. They're giving up about 260 yards per game on average. So obviously, you can imagine, I mean, having arguably the top quarterback in the country and probably one of the best receiver rooms in the country, that's probably got Ryan Grubb a little excited about that matchup. But they do well up front. And they've got some edge guys that definitely can make a difference. They're definitely going to be looking to get pressure on Ty Simpson. That's going to be their recipe. That's really going to be their only saving grace. We'll see if they can do that. But I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup as well. And by the way, those edge guys, they have them number 1 in the conference in sacks, right? They've got 26 sacks total as a defense. So we talk about offensive line play, going to be important in this matchup. All right, we got to get out of here. Appreciate everybody. Again, we will do a much more in-depth preview of this matchup tomorrow, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.